Come on in to Margaret McSweeney's Kitchen for Kitchen Chat, where every week you'll meet chefs, cookbook authors, foodies, gourmets, and just plain people who love to eat. And along with laughter, chat, recipes, and stories about food, you'll sometimes also hear words of inspiration, love, and hope. As Margaret always says, Kitchen Chat is food for the senses and food for the soul. So grab a cup of coffee, put your feet up on a comfy chair, and get ready to spend a little time with Margaret and her friends.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kitchen Chat. This is your host, Margaret McSweeney, and I am really delighted that you're joining me here in my kitchen in the Chicago suburbs today. We have a wonderful guest and truly a culinary star, not only in Chicago, but around the world. I mean, it's just such an honor and delight to have a kitchen chat today with Chef Carrie Nahabedian of great fame with Naha Restaurant and the new restaurant Brindille. She is an award-winning chef. Oh goodness, she James Beard award winner. In addition to her restaurant, Naha has a Michelin star and all these wonderful recent nominations we're going to talk about. But first of all, let's welcome Chef Carrie into the kitchen at Kitchen Chat. Welcome, Chef Carrie.
Thank you, Margaret. That was such a nice opening. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Happy to be with you today.
Oh, I'm just so thrilled, and I'm so sorry I missed the wonderful Chicago Gourmet event at Naha with Chef Sandy D'Amato, who was on Kitchen Chat a few weeks ago. What a special celebration that must have been.
Well, Sanford is a longtime friend, so it was an added pleasure to have him at Naha with his wife Angie for the book signing of his new cookbook, Good Stock, and it was we cooked from his book with my own, I added my own little interpretations, and it was a great evening.
Oh, how fun. And yes, and listeners, I will be actually doing a giveaway of Chef Sanford D'Amato's Good Stock book in the next few weeks, so please keep checking the Facebook Kitchen Chat page for that. Meanwhile, it is so interesting. You both seem to, you and Chef Sanford really have a great admiration for Julia Child, and he shared just a delightful story about his meeting Julia Child and cooking for her. Did you ever have a chance, Chef Carrie, to actually meet Julia Child?
I met Julia. I had the pleasure of meeting Julia many times. And actually, the first time I met her, she dined at Le Francais in Wheeling with Chef Jean Baucher. Yeah. And we cooked for her, and she came in the kitchen, and she greeted and shook every person's hand, and I have a beautiful signed menu of that. And so that has been, that has been over 30 years ago, the first time I met her. And then I cooked. I was invited to cook at her 80th birthday in Los Angeles. They had a special event. There were chefs from all over the world, and I was the only woman, and it became a big controversy because Julia's a woman, and how did they only have one chef? And she was very appreciative. And then over the years, when I worked at the Four Seasons Santa Barbara, Julia and her husband Paul, they lived across the street at the time from the Biltmore, from the Four Seasons, and then of course her husband passed away, and she continued to live on in Santa Barbara. So she would come into the hotel and have a light lunch or have coffee or drinks or something, and always a pleasure. Always. And I'd like to share just one little story about her, is that she obviously, everyone knows that she was in Boston and Cambridge and when they finally settled in the United States. And my mother is from Massachusetts, is from Worcester, and her sisters lived in Belmont, Massachusetts, which is the town right next to where Julia was living. And one of my aunts is an exceptional cook, and she used to see Julia at this one little small market that they would shop at, and a beautiful little market. And I told Julia when I saw her one day, I said that my aunt that you've met a number of times at the market, she is seriously ill with brain cancer, and unfortunately, she no longer can cook. She's in the disease is going to take its course. And Julia said, let me have her address. And she wrote her a number of times, wrote her beautiful letters. Oh. And Julia always wrote on stationery that said, from the kitchen of Julia Child. And wow. That really perked up my aunt to think that someone as big as Julia Child took the time to handwrite a note and say, oh, it's so nice, I'm sorry to hear of your illness. And that's why Julia Child is Julia Child, because yes. She crossed all barriers and reached out and to men and women across the world, but especially here in the United States.
Oh, and thank you for sharing that beautiful story. What a treasure. What a treasured friendship that you and Julia Child have and share, both being women in white as female chefs, just truly paving the road. And I understand you became the first woman to work at Chicago's Le Français as a chef with Chef Jean Bonchet. And congratulations. I understand that you are a nominee. It was just recently announced for the Jean Bonchet Awards for Culinary Excellence as Chef of the Year. This is just so exciting with more accolades to add.
Oh, well, that was one of my greatest pleasures, greatest experiences of my career is working with Chef Bonchet and his wife Doris at their legendary Le Français in Wheeling. And I won the Bonchet Award for Excellence 13 years ago for when I moved back to Chicago with Naha, and it was a big honor then because, of course, my working relationship and friendship with the Bonchets, and even more so now because of his 17-year involvement with helping cystic fibrosis, raise awareness and much-needed funds to help individuals with this dreaded disorder, this disease. And the relationship has really been a tremendous one for Chicago because it honors Chicagoans for their culinary excellence. And it's all about Chicago because Bonchet was a transplanted Chicagoan from France, and he loves Chicago.
Oh, and how poignant to Chef Carrie that this is the year you're nominated once again as Chef of the Year, and you are truly opening your French culinary roots with your new restaurant Brindille, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
We're very happy. We never correct anyone. It is difficult. We have Brindle, we have Brindille. The correct it's Brindille, which is French. It means branch or twig with the new growth. So in the springtime, when you see the little new growth on the little branches, that's the Brindille.
Oh, I love that.
My cousin Michael Nahabedian, who I own Naha and our new restaurant with, he came up with the name, and we all immediately, when he just typed it out and sent it on a text, and he said, "What do you think of this name?" And it was perfect. And it's a very small jewel of a restaurant, very much reminiscent of an upmarket neighborhood restaurant in Paris or London that you might find, and designed by Tom Nahabedian, Michael's brother, and my cousin from his architectural firm. And it just captures everything comfortable, luxurious about a refined Parisian restaurant. And it's the paintings and the artwork by Laura Fosberg. It's meant to evoke your childhood, like when you would go into the woods and running around and lay on the ground and daydream, looking up through the branches. And we're very proud of the work, the culinary work, obviously, and we're very happy to be part of the community once again. We're only 6 months old.
Wow. Well, bienvenue, as they say in France. Welcome. And this is so exciting, too, on so many levels. One, first of all, the restaurant Brandy is also a nominee for Best Restaurant Design. So that's just a great testament as well. And also Restaurant of the Year. So this is very exciting. Oh, what a celebration.
We are very happy. I helped do the announcements of the nominees with Michael Muser, who's the general manager partner at Grace, which is Curtis Duffy's restaurant, which is also up for a number of awards, and then Catherine Diorio from Check Please. And I'm reading the nominees, and I'm like, oh my God. So Allie Ratcliffe, who's our chef de cuisine at Brandy, she's up for an award, and Brandy, and our pastry chef Craig Harchevsky is up for pastry chef. So it's going to be it is always just nice to be recognized by your peers. So winner is a great honor, and especially wonderful because of our relationship with Banché. And Doris, his wife, just ate at Brandy a month or two ago, and Chef was just at Naha about a month and a half ago. So everyone really knows his face and his personality.
Oh, that is just so special and just full circle. It's just really very exciting, and can't wait to follow the Jean Boucher Awards. But this is great. And also, my compliments to all of the chefs as well. I mean, this is so exciting that the proceeds go to cystic fibrosis, and I'm going to leave a link, friends, on the internet website as well. If you are interested in getting tickets for this big celebration, the Jean Boucher Awards, and you're also supporting a great cause to find a cure for cystic fibrosis. And I just think it's great with chefs having a heart for charity and making a difference. So thank you for being a part of that as
Thank
well.
You.
And also mentioning, and we'll get to the food first, we just have to go through all of your interesting awards. I mean, this is the award season. And congratulations, Chef Carrie, for being only the third chef ever to represent the Bears at the upcoming Taste of the NFL and its 19-year history. And that is so exciting. That's going to be, I understand, February 1st of next year in Brooklyn before the Super Bowl, and once again a great charitable gathering where chefs come together, and the proceeds go to food banks and to help end hunger here in America. But how exciting! How did this come about? Becoming an Bears at the Taste of the NFL.
Well, our good friends. Susan and Drew Goss were the second chef. Rick Bayless started it for 1 year, and Drew and Susan did it for, I believe, like 17 years. Uh-huh. And I think this is actually, this is, I believe, the 22nd year.
Wow.
I think so. I think Dallas was 20 years, 21, 20. I think this is 22 years. And so Susan called me up one day and said, I'm going to send you an email about this event. And I said, okay. And I initially looked at it, and I saw 3,000 people and cook at the Super Bowl and, the NFL. And I initially said, I don't think it's something that I could handle. I don't think we could do this. And she picked up the phone and called me and said, you and Michael are the biggest sports fans. And, when Drew and I decided that we've done it and we've raised awareness and funds, we thought only of you, and the NFL thought of you, and I really think you have to do this. I took a longer look at it and said, I completely understand now. I mean, I shouldn't get so nervous about 3,000 people. And so our first year was in Miami, and it was certainly an adventure, and it was a great relationship because Wayne Kozlowski and his team, Wayne won the Humanitarian of the Year award from the James Beard Foundation a couple of years ago for his tireless efforts to, as we say in the restaurant industry, 86 hunger across America. And 86 is the term in kitchens of when something's gone. When you're 86 something, it's no longer there. And what people don't understand is that how could these huge metropolis cities with NFL teams, how could they have so much hunger, right? In Chicago, New York, Miami, Dallas, San Francisco, the list goes on. And now more than ever, the need is there. And we raise funds for the Greater Chicago Food Depository. And then the Greater Chicago Food Depository feeds all the food banks of northern Illinois and the surrounding areas. And so we help them raising funds through the event, but also at NAHA. And from the start of the football season to the weekend of Super Bowl, our guests contribute $1 for every check. And so far, and then we have a contest. We have a contest between all the NFL teams. And, a lot of the NFL sports teams sponsor the restaurants and write $10,000-$20,000 checks and to this Kick Hunger Challenge. So this is in addition to the actual event. The event, all the funds raised, less the expenses, of course, because undertaking every year. I mean, it's a year-long event to get it started, especially this year in New York and Brooklyn. And then it gets distributed. The host city gets X amount, and then it's distributed amongst all the other teams. So it's a very large chunk of money that our Greater Chicago Food Depository. My efforts with the Chicago Bears to help them, have them help us have been unsuccessful, but luckily our clients and our employees and our friends contribute. And every year we have a contest called the Kick Hunger Challenge, and you could go see it on the website, kickhungerchallenge.org, and you can donate. And it says every football team, and it says where you're at financially. So, thus far, since the start of the season, which we're 11 weeks into the season, NAHA has raised just under $4,000 just by customers in the restaurant.
That is wonderful. Congratulations. And I love this. KickHungerChallenge.org. And listeners, I'm going to leave a link to that as well because let's 86 hunger. I love that. We've learned to do
people don't understand that $1 feeds 10 people. And obviously you can't go to the grocery store and buy food for $1 for 10 people, but along with all the subsidies and donations that they get, $1 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository feeds 10 people. So that's why we came up with the $1, because it's just so poignant that $1, something that we barely think about in our wallet, can help 10 people.
Yes, I agree. Friends, let's 86 Hunger, and I'm going to put a link to this great website. And Bears fans, let's make the Bears rock and have the most votes and funds raised. Oh, this is just so exciting to hear about this, Chef Carrie. And I do want to get to a couple of questions from our listeners.
No problem.
Good. Thank you. Goodness, let's see. James wrote in and asked, how and what inspires you to create? Because that must be a challenge. I can't imagine. Does your menu for 2 restaurants now change? How often? And how are you inspired to create a dish?
You know, I'm often asked this, and no one more so than by my mother, who said, what? I see you, and I don't understand what inspires you. And I have to say, first off, that this is what I love to do. And I love to cook. I've never thought of it as work ever, you know, that famous saying, you know, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, so to speak. And I have to say, what inspires me is the fact that I love what I do. I love food, and it's the seasons, it's the bounty of what's available. It's my experiences, but most importantly, I look at it as if I was dining in my restaurants, what would I like to eat? So when people ask me, I don't know what to eat, Carrie, I love that because I know that I have touched them for every dish on every level, that when they can't make a decision, that's the highest compliment for me, is that they're looking at it saying, you know, I only cook what I personally would like to eat. So I don't necessarily force my beliefs on everyone. I inspire and create based on nature, on the environment, on my experiences. But I love food that's textured, that has intense flavor. I don't like boring food. I don't like that you eat a bite and you eat 3 bites and then you're just kind of like lackadaisical about it, like you could give or take it. I like that every bite has a new dimension and thrills the eye, and it's great that food always looks wonderful, but it's about how it tastes. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how great something looks. If the taste isn't there, you haven't completed what you set out to do.
Yes. And speaking of taste, what types of Armenian flavors do you bring to the table? I'd read that you definitely share that the wonderful, flavorful culture from Armenia in your dishes. Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, I'm Armenian, 100%. Michael is half Armenian, half Greek. He and his father and my father are brothers. Oh. And we brought a little bit of a Middle Eastern influence into our bar and lounge menu at Naha, as well as, Naha's American with Mediterranean inspiration. And it's my idea of Mediterranean, not the usual France, Italy, Spain. We go all the way across into the Middle East, across North Africa, and we bring those flavors. So we have a stunning mezza. We have small little influences here and there on the menu. We are by no means, much to the dismay of the Armenian community, we are in no means an Armenian restaurant. So you're not going to come in and have shish kebab and rice pilaf and grape leaves and things like that. But those dishes that you love, those flavors, we bring that in through spices, through very authentic interpretations of a classical dish that we put our own spin on. And last year we had the pleasure of doing a promotion at the Four Seasons Hotel in Istanbul, and I was able to bring my pastry chef, Craig, with us. And I said to him when we got there, I said, you see this baker, Oman? I want you to be glued to him, because everything that I've always talked to you about and tried to teach you and show you, and through my grandmother and you know, my own interpretation, you're going to see firsthand. And after like 2 days, Craig was like, okay, I got this under control. I know exactly what you're talking about. So now we make lahmacun, which is the open-faced lamb Armenian pizzas, and we make our own pita. He makes our grandmother, Michael's and our grandmother's well-known pagach bread, which is like puff dough, but obviously without with much more butter and egg, and it's just so stunning. And so we bring those elements to the table, and then we support Armenian small artisan Armenian purveyors across the United States, like Sylvia Terlekian of Harvest Song with her beautiful jams and preserves, and we get our basturma from Ohanians in Fresno, which is like, you know, the epitome of how cured beef is made. There's some things that I just can't make, obviously, in my kitchen, right, but basturma is one of the few things that we actually buy. And so it's nice to be able to offer that to the community.
Oh, that is neat. And I noticed on the menu, and I was so curious, what are Armenian preserved walnuts?
Again, this is Sylvia. Sylvia Terlekian is a woman out of New York. Her company's called Harvest Song, and she's one of many Armenians who live in the United States that have helped Armenia come out of the rebirth from the Soviet Union into a prospering nation. And Armenia is, I visited a number of years ago with my family, and Armenia is a very diverse country, landlocked, obviously, and mountainous, but they have incredible fruits and incredible nuts and a great bounty of what I call a Western Turkish food, because there's Eastern Russian food in Armenia as well. And one of the things that Sylvia found was that if you take fresh walnuts off the tree when they're immature, and then she has a process, so obviously she learned this in Armenia, and that walnut, people think it's the shells removed, but when the walnut is immature and at a certain age, that the shell is edible, and she preserves them in this very delicious syrup. And the first time I saw them, I received them as a gift. And the person said to me, I bought these because they were Armenian and I thought of you. And she said, I bought a jar for myself, but it's not really my thing. I don't know what to do with them. So I studied them, and I said, oh, I know exactly what to do. So you asked for inspiration. There it is. Sometimes inspiration comes from an unlikely source. And I brought them into the kitchen, and I said, you know what, we're going to do the foie gras with an accent of these. And then that led to, okay, maybe we'll put it with the cheese course, because we make our own jams, of course, but we also supplement our jams with, I love the idea of something from Armenia that I didn't necessarily touch, that I'm supporting our heritage. Yes. And these preserved walnuts, that and her tea rose petal preserves, those are something that are unique only to her, and that she's created with obviously hundreds of artisans, mostly women in the Ararat Valley in Armenia. Oh, so if you see them, it's, you know, so we do them on occasion. Right now we have them on with our foie gras, and then we also do them with our squab, and you know, they're just a really nice accent piece.
Yes, and I never knew you could eat the shells. That is amazing.
It is amazing because I don't, I've been invited many times to go to Armenia for the harvest, and I've never actually been. One day I'll make it there. And she said, I'll show you the process if you come to Armenia. So there must be some way. But when you slice them, you can see the whole outline, the hull, the shell, the nut meat, and they're just beautiful.
Oh, and a beautiful addition to your wonderful menu at Naha, and happy 13-year anniversary, a big celebration.
Margaret, thank you so much.
Oh, this has just been wonderful, Chef Carrie. Thank you for being on Kitchen Chat. Listeners, we're going to put all these great links to Naha and Brundia and the 86 Hunger. And thank you. This has just been such an inspiration, Chef Carrie. And thank you for being on Kitchen Chat.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for allowing me to talk about the Taste of the NFL and fundraising, because chefs all over the world, we're always asked to help charities raise money, and we do that because this is something that, as chefs, this comes naturally to us. We feed the soul. We feed a person's being, and some people eat and some people dine, but what we create, hopefully, is a memory.
Yes.
And from that, I thank you for allowing me to be on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Chef Carrie. And you have just truly inspired me, and I just so appreciate that. And listeners, I will put all the links. And during this busy time of year, please, friends, take a moment and sit down and savor the day.
Thank you for joining us today. If you're interested in Margaret's books, A Mother's Heart Knows, Pearl Girls, Encountering Grit, Experiencing Grace, and Go Back and Be Happy, please just click on the covers on the webtalkradio.net page in front of you. Margaret would love to connect with you and hear from you, so join her on Twitter, Facebook, her blog, or click on this website to leave a note and share a recipe. Thank you again, and we'll see you here again for a new show next week.